Hello again. In this video I'm going to be talking about the positions of the hands in the context of the basic exercises. I'm doing this because a couple of people have asked certain questions about, well, how should my hand be? In the first place, keep in mind that while we worry quite a bit about posture and about motion and stillness, when to move, when to keep still, right? Yifa Qigong doesn't put a huge amount of weight on the idea of a single correct position of the hands or the legs or something like that. There's a range, right? There's obviously movements that are not appropriate, and then there are a whole range of movements that are, right? So for some people, the basic stance will be wider apart. For some, it'll be closer together. What it can't be is completely out of joint, right? But in terms of the stance of the legs, as long as your back is straight and your knees are slightly bent and your legs are generally facing forward, it's okay. You find the one that suits you, right? And it's the same thing with the positions of the hands, so that there's a lot of different ways to make motions in Qigong, in Yifa Qigong, and you can even do them differently at different times, right? And you might push forward in a different way, maneuver in a different way, come back, right? You might lift the leg as you push forward. You probably don't want to slide it completely, but you might have it moving low. And how long you hold that for, even though it's not going to be very long, because this isn't a standing posture, can vary from person to person, right? How high you arc the hands when they return. Those are all different points, right? So, but in a very general term, right, when we're doing the first preliminary exercise, as you're moving up, the main thing is the hands are always in the lotus palm, right, with the middle finger is slightly indented. The hands are loose without being floppy, right? They're loose. They're not tense. They're loose. And when you begin moving up, the hands are about a couple of inches away from the body, and they're facing the body as they go up, right? So this is, the first movement, you're doing it like this, right? You're going up, and then here you break, and as you break, you can see here the hands are pointing completely out, right? They're not like this or something. They're like this. And so when you're coming back and you're going up, the hands are against the body, and you're going all the way up and then out, and again the hands are pointing straight out, right? Okay, and then in the second preliminary exercise, when you begin from here, the hands are again sweeping along the body all the way down, up. Here they're going up the back, right? And then they cross over the head. You can have them cross over the head, or you can just go like this also, right? And neither of the two are strictly wrong. All that matters is that the fingers have to connect right at the back of the neck, and then you come back down, and you repeat the whole same cycle again, and you do this 3 or 4 times. Okay, so in the first level, in the level 1 exercise, the earth exercise, you begin from Heishu, and then you're drawing the hands up along the body until they're out. And you can see this hand is pointing straight down, this hand is pointing up, and neither of them are rigid, right? Obviously they're still in the lotus posture, right? The palm is at a very, very, very slight angle as it points upwards. And then you reverse that and come out in the other direction. Here the hand pointing down again, here the hand pointing up, right? And then you come down to the middle where you do a Heishu for just a second, and then you have the hands holding that, because there's that little spark of light inside the Heishu, because the Heishu is not flat, right? It has a hollow in it. And from that hollow you expand out that ball of Qi, and then you turn and you're pushing out like so, right? So here, the hand facing that way, here like so, and then you draw it back in, like so. Okay, and it's repeated in the other directions, right? So it's like this. I'm using this angle because it's the easiest to see. There we go. Okay? And so once you've done all the different directions, you're back in the center. And from here you draw the hands out. Push forward as you're breathing out deeply. Breathe in as you open up the space. And then as you exhale, you're drawing the hands in. So now the hands are both on the chest with the tips of the lotus palm pointing right to the heart center. Okay? And you hold this position. The elbows are relatively up. There's got to always be space. In almost everything you're doing in Qigong, there's got to be space for the underarms. So you're holding this position for at least a minute, but it can be a lot longer if you want. And then eventually when you release, they keep going down the central line, right? And overlapping. And here again, it's still basically the lotus palm, right? And you have about an inch of space between the first hand and the dantian, and an inch of space between the core of the second hand and the dantian. The parts that should be aligned are the center of the lotus palm in this case, right? So it's like so. And then when you're finished, after about a couple of minutes of holding this position, which draws in everything that you've been doing and begins the process of circulation, then you switch to the Chan Mudra and hold it there. So I hope that clears up questions people might have had about hand positions. The very basic answer is don't make a big deal about it. Don't worry too much about it. The more important thing is how you're loose, how you move when you're still. And there are lots of slight variations that you can have in terms of how you're holding the hand postures. As long as there is that sense of relaxation, much more important is that you're focused with the active consciousness, and there you go. So please, if you like this video, feel free to share it, and if you're interested, if you're not already in the Yifa Society and you're interested in joining the Yifa Society to study a whole curriculum of spiritual cultivation based on Yifa Qigong and the I Ching, then please get in touch in the comments. Thank you very much.